Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening.
Hold one, Andre.
You're not good at this. Get out. Let me tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon.
You just made the list.
Oh my God!
Sorry, no speak English.
Dummy. Goodbye and good night. Hold two, on bar.
It's still real to me, damn it.
Dummy. Yeah.
This is the worst town I've ever been in.
Hold three, the moss covered, three-handle family credential.
Mamma mia!
And now, Unchained.media presents the B Plus Podcast with your host, Greg Unchained.
It's me, Austin! It was me all along, Austin!
Number four, armbar.
I will never retire!
I still got 200 more. I got 200 more holes to list.
All right, fellow B Plus players, welcome to the B Plus Podcast. I'm your host, Greg Unchained. Today is Friday. Well, I'm recording on Friday. You know what that means. No, you don't. I don't know why I still say that. It started as the Luke Harper thing, and it's like an homage, and it just never went away. We're going to look at NXT UK Takeover today. It's tomorrow. I think, I don't know, time zones get me all kind of screwed up, but I'm pretty sure it airs Saturday our time. I'm speaking to someone who doesn't have to worry about that stuff because it's going to be on his time anyway. From across the pond, our good friend Aqeel The Heel. How are you, Aqeel?
Time is an illusion.
It's a flat circle.
It's a flat circle. Look, we've got a lot to talk about, Greg, so I just want to get straight to the main event. Why don't you like fireworks?
Why don't I like fireworks? What makes you think I don't like fireworks?
I was listening to something you recorded earlier. I don't remember what podcast it was. There was a random podcast. You were like, yeah, it's New Year's, people are going off fireworks. I don't like fireworks. I've been thinking about it all day.
Yeah, this is probably, was it one of the bonus episodes over the break period?
Yeah.
Where I've been drinking more than I should.
I
think I probably did. I went on a rant because so I've got young children and I've got a dog, and like I'm all for fireworks in their appropriate venue, like when you go to, like, I don't know, a beach party or at a stadium and things like that. But when it's at like a residential neighborhood, I mean, I'm not the kind that's like, oh, we should ban it and illegalize it and all that stuff. No, whatever. Have your fun. Do what you do. But it's going to make me cranky when you're setting off my dog. And especially, like, so here's the thing around New Year's Day and Christmas and stuff, right? People let them off just randomly because they're like, oh shit, we forgot to let off some of these. I guess we should do it now, even though it's January the 5th and people are back at work and it's 2 a.m. That's a good idea. It's Wednesday. Let's do it. And then they set off fireworks and it just upsets the whole neighborhood because the dogs all go off, and yeah, it just bums me out, man. Just bums me out, right? I'm an old man.
Touched a nerve.
Yeah. It's like when I was younger and stuff, and we'd go up the river or whatever, and we were camping at the river and we were having drinks and stuff, and we'd get some fireworks, we'd let them off and have fun and stuff. But I feel like when you're in certain venues, it's more acceptable than in others. I live in a residential neighborhood, you know, there's families around.
Anyway,
yeah.
Brit rests.
So that was the main event, and more interesting than anything else we have to talk about. No, I'm kidding. Brit Res, yeah, you had some things you wanted to touch on before we get to the actual NXT UK Takeover, yeah?
Yeah, there was a couple little things here and there. I think it's worth talking about. Fight Club Pro ran a big show in Korakuen Hall.
Yes.
A couple days ago.
Everything I've seen says it was a big success.
Yeah, it hasn't dropped yet, but the pictures I've seen and stuff makes it seem like a fun show. I think they drew, I don't know how much they drew off the top of my head, but it sounded like a decent number. They also announced they've got a partnership with DDT, which is really, really exciting.
Yes, and Millie McKenzie walked away with some gold.
Yeah, she won the Sendai Girls Junior Championship, I believe.
Yeah, which is awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing that match.
Yeah, I think it's her first sort of major title as well, so it's a big deal.
Yeah. I think the relationships and stuff that are opening up is in 2019 is going to be interesting because I've heard scuttlebutt, if you will, that All Elite Wrestling are possibly getting into bed with DDT as well. And so there's all sorts of weird crossover relationships happening, and everyone's working together, and it's becoming sort of, it's like this weirdly incestuous family of wrestling companies where we're working with these people even though they're working with those people we don't like. That seems like it's happening a lot.
Well, Tony Khan did an interview recently where he talked about how he went to a Rev Pro show and actually met with Andy Corden, the promoter.
Right.
So, you never know, maybe AEW is going to partner with Rev Pro. There's a lot of weird things going on right now.
I can hear you getting excited all of a sudden about AEW, which I didn't expect.
You know, Greg. We all need our joy somewhere.
yes, we do. But yeah, so Fight Club Pro, successful first show in Japan, and now partnering with DDT, which means we can expect more probably.
Yeah, potentially. We also had, just keeping on Brits in Japan, Chris Brooks, Drew Parker, and Jimmy Havoc worked a Big Japan Korakuen Hall show.
Yes.
Again, I don't think that show has dropped yet, but everything I've seen made it seem like they enjoyed themselves and the crowd were into them. So, good stuff for them.
Yeah, definitely interested to see how Jimmy Havoc performs in a Big Japan deathmatch sort of situation.
It will be interesting to see. It's very different to what he does here, the kind of death matches he does here.
Yeah, well, he's here this weekend for some matches here. He's working Matty Warburg. I showed you the promo of that one, so it's a match. Yeah, it's a match that has a lot of buzz. So I'm interested to see what he brings over and what ends up going down. But I see here you wanted to talk about the New Japan show. So New Japan obviously held Wrestle Kingdom, and they had a bunch of announcements, which they didn't announce an Australian tour. Everyone was expecting an Australian tour in February. That was what we'd heard from someone who supposedly spoke to Harold Mage outside one of the G1 shows, but no Australian tour, but they are headed your way.
Yeah, so they're running, I think it's one of the last days of the G1 actually, in the Copper Box in East London. That's a relatively big venue. I don't know exact numbers off the top of my head, but it's much bigger than the shows they did last year now. New Year's messed me up.
Yeah.
The Strong Style Evolved UK shows they did last year, it's much bigger venue than that. They're treating this as a proper New Japan show as opposed to whatever the Strong Style Evolved shows were. It's an exciting time. Clearly New Japan want to try and fortify the UK scene a little bit more.
Yeah. Look, I think it's a weird choice. If I didn't realize it was part of the G1, but if it is, that's a really weird choice to me because they're kicking it off in America and then heading back to Japan. And then, I mean, what's better than, this grueling, 20 matches in however many days? What's better than that? Let's add some travel. It seems a bit much maybe, but I'm still looking forward to it. I think it's going to be awesome for the UK fans, especially to get an actual. Well, I mean, I feel like we're dissing on RevPro when we say actual because like their other shows have tended to be co-branded with RevPro, right? And they've been pretty good.
Yeah, I've enjoyed all of them. I think for these, I keep referencing these Strong Style Evolved shows because they were there was a bit of controversy because they were kind of branded as New Japan shows when in reality they were the co-promoted shows. And it looks like this G1 show is a New Japan proper show where there's no real RevPro involvement. What actually ends up happening, we'll see. But it seems like this is a we're doing this on our own sort of thing. I'm sure Rev Pro are helping just because they're here and they know the scene,
Yeah.
but it's not promoted or branded as a Rev Pro New Japan show.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how they're going to move forward with this international expansion. Because you feel like you got to take it slow, but also you can't be too slow. Like they were here a year ago, and I feel like they should really head back soon if they want to capitalize on the market here. Because the buzz dies down when you're only going once a year. It's very easy for buzz to just completely die off.
Yeah, but those, I don't remember, was the Australian tour last year announced quite well in advance?
No. I think
Yeah.
I remember feeling like I think I only had like 2 weeks to buy tickets or something ridiculous like that. I think it might have been announced in January and then they were coming in February. Like it was relatively quick.
Yeah, I remember it being sort of coming out of nowhere. So
Yeah.
you never know. You might be getting a Oz tour at some point.
Yeah, but in that case, they don't think it's a major thing like they do for the UK or for America, which is concerning in a whole other way. But that's Australia. We're here to talk about the UK. Some big matches are happening over there as well at the moment outside the NXT brand. You had Zack Sabre Jr. bringing home the British Heavyweight Championship from the Dome.
Yeah, in a hell of a match. Maybe one of the best matches on the Dome, if not the best. Actually, not the best. The best on the undercard. Great match with Ishii. It was worked in a really interesting way, because obviously for the Japanese audience, they don't know that Ishii and Zack have quite a long history. So they could have just worked a normal match. It was quite interesting that they worked a match based on familiarity and based on the idea that these guys know each other well and know counters for all of their normal things.
Yeah. It was very much, we talked about it on the King of Sportscast, it was very much a Rev Pro showcase.
Yeah. Even down to
these guys that have been telling stories. Yeah, right down to the referee, because these guys that have been telling stories in Rev Pro, they've been working together for quite a while over there, and then you had them fighting for the Rev Pro title with a Rev Pro referee. It was really a showcase.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
And the new Rev Pro title as well, which is very nice looking, much better than the old one they had.
Gotta love new shiny things.
Yeah, it's very shiny, very shiny. Rev Pro also had their Queen of the Ring tournament, like the weekend after Wrestle Kingdom.
Yes. I think only the first round has dropped on RPW on demand though, because I was watching the Cockpit show had some of those matches.
Yeah, so both shows occurred on. It was 2 nights at the Cockpit. They did this last year as well, so it looks like this is a tradition where you start the year with 2 nights at the Cockpit for the Queen of the Ring tournament. The second night hasn't dropped yet, which is surprising to me because Rev Pro are normally quite good at getting their stuff out quickly. But that second show was main evented by Puck versus Zack Sabre Jr. in what was made a British heavyweight title match.
Right. I expected it to be made a British heavyweight title match too.
Yeah, so did I. I had actually predicted Pac was going to win the title because if you look at what Rev Pro have announced in the next couple of months, it seems like Pac was quite heavily involved. As it turns out, he didn't win the title, which is a bit of a shame. I looked like an idiot.
I mean, especially leading into what eventually came with the All Elite Rally, it would have been cool to have him showing up as Puck 2 belts instead of just holding the one title. He could have showed up with both of them. It would have been a good visual for people tuning in, and also for Rev Pro, for Dragon Gate, and everyone involved.
Yeah, but clearly Rev Pro have bigger plans in mind. For everything I've heard, the match was fun, but they did a weird DQ ending, which is a real shame. Especially considering the match went about 25 minutes of a half an hour time limit.
Okay.
So I don't understand why you didn't just wrestle the extra 5 minutes and just do a tie as opposed to a weird DQ. It just feels a bit shitty to me.
Yeah, I'll have to see it to judge it for sure. But yeah, that does seem odd. Yeah, you would think a time limit draw would. It brings more to the title too than a disqualification. You know.
Yeah, but I guess the argument is you want to really get over Zack as a heel. I think there's better ways to do it. It's difficult to really talk about too much because obviously neither of us have seen the match, so we can't say how it comes off.
I will say this though: at the first cockpit show, you and Shigehiro Irie, who I always struggle pronouncing that, Shigehiro Irie, they had some fantastic showings, some really good matches on that show. So worth checking out RPW on demand for sure.
Yeah, both of them and Kellyanne from your neck of the woods, they're here for a little while. It sounds like they're based out of WXW in Germany.
Yes, because they showed up on some of their shows too, yeah.
So that's their sort of home base, and they're booked around quite a bit. I've seen Erie once or twice now. Absolutely amazing live. I haven't had a chance to see you yet, and the little bit I've heard from Kellyanne sounds quite positive, but again, I haven't seen it personally.
Yeah, she had a good showing on the 18th anniversary. I don't have the notes here for who she faced, so I feel terrible. But she did. She had a good showing at the 18th anniversary, and then she was also on the Road to Back to the Roots show as well. So yeah, she's picking up wins there too. Alan Payne is over there with her as well, and he's not picking up wins. he's sort of being thrown into tag matches and eating pins. To further other stories, but yeah, it's really good to see them. Really good to see them over there, and the crowd are responding really well to them. So it's very exciting for me to see that.
It's a good sign. It's a good sign.
Yeah. I think there's room for a lot of our talent to head over there. I can think of a few guys that would probably benefit from going over there and possibly really make a name for themselves in the scene with all the stuff that's going on with the contracts and what have you. There's some positions opening up, and I'd like to see some of our guys take advantage of that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we've got massive holes at the top of our cards right now, and about half of BritWres is already Australian, so we're willing to accept you guys back.
I don't know if it's half, but there's a couple of major players. Aussie Open and stuff.
Open.
I guess you count Travis Banks too, I suppose.
Yeah, Travis, Tony.
Yeah.
I don't know. Jonah was over here quite a bit.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
But we should probably get on to the reason we're here. NXT UK Takeover Blackpool, which is a bit of a mouthful, to be honest. Like, NXT Takeover London, NXT Takeover San Antonio, NXT Takeover Brooklyn. Easy to say. NXT UK Takeover Blackpool. Much harder. It's not as good on the branding there.
Yeah, well, I mean, people have to know that it's NXT UK and not NXT proper, because people are idiots and can't figure it out themselves, Branding is important.
It is, but also, wouldn't it be smart to just piggyback on the NXT TakeOver brand? Because if people see NXT TakeOver pop up in their feed, they'll be like, oh yeah, sweet, I should watch this TakeOver that I missed. But then, if they see NXT UK TakeOver, they might be like, I haven't watched any of the UK shows, so I'm not going to bother. Right? Like, you could get accidental viewers from it if you just called it NXT TakeOver Blackpool.
I mean, yes, but I'm not the chief branding officer, so I don't know what to tell you.
Fair enough. It's it's just a mouthful. But NXT UK Takeover Blackpool, how hyped are you, Aqeel?
Here's how we're going to do this. I'm going to say absolutely nothing to not sway you. Greg, how are you feeling about NXT UK Takeover Blackpool? I can't even say it.
See, it's hard, isn't it? It's hard to say. I feel like it's a decent first card, I suppose. I mean, I've been watching. I missed a couple of weeks here and there in the early days because the 2-episode catch up situation it can be a bit rough sometimes. But I've been watching. I've been getting into it. It's introducing me to a lot of new characters, which, along with yourself, with our monthly BritRes catch ups, I've been introduced to a lot more. Because really, before this, I'd only seen sort of highlights of progress and stuff. And I've talked about it before. I was introduced to the UK scene through the WWE UK tournament, right? So it's a lot of these people are people I'm just sort of getting used to. The guys that have made the takeover card tend to be the ones that have been around for the longest. I'm excited about a couple of the matches, but I don't think it's been properly hyped up. Like there's no real hype around it. No one's talking about it, which is a little bummy.
Yeah, so to be honest with you, if I wasn't doing a podcast like this, I probably wouldn't even watch the show, if I'm completely honest.
Right.
The card on paper is pretty good, and we'll go over it in detail, but there's a couple matches which I think could really, really blow the doors off. But,
yeah.
Like, I don't care about the brand as a whole. We said when it started, look, give it some time, they'll find their feet and all of this. It's been a couple of months now. It's a very bland show. And I think one of the mistakes they're making is it doesn't feel like they're really building the characters. Like, we don't know who most of the people are. There's very few promos or any sort of real character pieces or vignettes or anything to actually tell us who these people are. Again, that's something WWE are typically NXT especially, are typically quite good at. So it's weird.
Yes.
It's really weird and surprising to me that they're not doing that. And I don't know why that is.
Well, I'm having a look at the card here. Correct me if I'm wrong, it's a 5-match card.
That sounds right, yeah.
And of those 5 matches, now that I look at it, I'm like, actually, no, 4 of these matches look really, really good to me. And one of them looks like it could surprise me. So it kind of actually does look just like any other takeover card. There's some really, really, so we've got Travis Banks and Jordan Devlin. You've got, we'll go through these more in depth, obviously, but Travis Banks, Jordan Devlin, that's going to be fantastic, if they're given the time. Then you've got the tag team titles, right? Moustache Mountain and Grizzled Young Vets. That's going to be a really good match.
Mm-hmm.
Rhea Ripley versus Toni Storm should be great. And obviously the main event, Pete Dunne, Joe Coffey. All of those matches sound brilliant to me. And then you've got as well Eddie Dennis and Dave Mastiff in there.
Which could be fun.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it feels just like any other takeover. I don't know why I'm not more hyped.
I think there's a couple factors at play. I think the TV show's it doesn't have a lot of juice to it. I think the double episodes thing is hurting it quite a bit.
Yeah, which we think that'll change after TakeOver, right? It should go back to 1 episode a week.
Everyone is assuming this. I've seen nothing officially say one way or the other. I would be surprised if they don't, but also I could see them thinking, look, we've promised 2 episodes now. It's weird if we go back to 1. But even if you build...
That's strange.
This is me just assuming.
Yeah.
But even if you keep with 2 episodes, but build it with the idea that we're putting out 2 episodes at once, I just hope they do 1 episode, personally.
Yeah, I want them to go back to 1, man. I don't even want them to toy with the idea of continuing this 2 episodes a week. Because if you're going to do 2 episodes of anything, you do. If you're going to turn anything into a 2-hour show, you turn NXT itself into a 2-hour show, right?
Yeah.
It's far more established. You don't want to be, launching this new brand and being like, oh, by the way, it's 2 hours, and everyone's like, what? No. I understand because of the catch up, because they didn't actually launch the way they wanted to. I don't know. I feel like the catch up, I can forgive them for that, but if they keep going with it after the takeover, it's going to feel strange.
Yeah. I think the brand is also hurt just because their target audience are hardcore Brit Wres fans. And I think most of us, how do I put this? We are negative towards the brand because of all of the contract situation, which everyone is aware of. And so we harbour some resentment towards what's had to happen to make NXT UK a thing.
Yeah. I don't know if that is the target audience.
I think with the way the shows are laid out, I think it is, because you're not really working hard to introduce these characters. You're sort of assuming people know who these guys are, you know? Like, I don't think there's been any explanation why James Drake and Zach Gibson are a tag team. You just sort of are like, okay, fine, they're a tag team.
Yeah. Well, there has been mentions to, that they've teamed together in Progress. And so I think the hope is that people will go out and seek out Progress. I don't think it's targeted necessarily at people who already know, but they are leaning on the history a little, like, hey guys, go check this stuff out. If that makes sense. But I still don't think the target audience is the hardcore fans. I feel like they just assume those fans will be there, though. I think that's something that's happening. They're assuming those fans will be there as a core, and then they're sort of. I feel like the target is, their usual target for NXT. It's just sort of your general internet wrestling fan. People like me, who try to watch as much as possible.
I mean, of course, but I think their idea is if we get the British fans really invested in this, they will be shouting to everyone else to watch it. I might be completely off base with this, if I'm honest. But
yeah,
I think, but the absolute biggest reason why I think this takeover is struggling is Joe Coffey as a top heel. I think is just not working. It doesn't. I don't know what you think, but I think they've leaned very heavily on this Gallus thing, and I don't think it's connecting as strongly as they would have thought.
Right. I like Gallus too, until I found out what the name means. I was just like, it just means cheeky. That's weird. That's a weird name. Apparently, yeah, it's like, what was it, Lowland Scottish?
That's dumb.
For like the cheeky boys kind of thing. Like that's what, or like cocky, confident, and cheeky. It's like a mixture of those sorts of things. That's what the word means. And I'm like, that's a weird, like imagine just walking around calling yourself, yeah, we're cocky. That's the name of our group, lads, we're cocky. That's a weird name for a group.
That's really dumb.
I thought it was cool until because I'm pretty sure they actually said on commentary at one point, someone pointed out what it meant, and I was just like, you shouldn't have done that. You're exposing the business. That's like, don't just tell us what the word means. The word itself had some mystery around it. I was like, yeah, they're Gallus. They're these big dudes, they're taking over. This is their show. This is their kingdom. He's the Iron King, right? And then they're like, oh, we're cheeky.
Can we talk about very quickly how every single promo seems to have someone say that NXT UK is their kingdom?
Do you feel like it's a little bit racist, Aqeel?
No, it's not. I don't even care about that. It's just say some more things. Get variety in what you say. It's even in the matches, even in the fucking matches. In the middle, heels are screaming at faces, this isn't your show, this is my kingdom. I get it, okay? You don't have to say it over and over and over and over again. I get it.
That's something that WWE and NXT are really good at, though, is just repeating things over and over again. Sometimes it lands, like undefeated, right? Other times it very much doesn't land, like this is my kingdom.
I think what it is because this is the only WWE product I've watched regularly and have been watching regularly for the past 3 or 4 years. A lot of the sort of standard WWE tropes are really hitting me.
Yeah.
That I've missed. I don't know.
Right.
This just really This really hit me.
I can understand that. Whereas for me, it's like I tune a lot of that stuff out. Because it's like, yeah, okay, that's what they do. It's old hat at this point. But let's get into talking about the actual matches. So, what I'm looking at here, I've got Travis Banks versus Jordan Devlin up first on the ticket. So I think this match, I mean, these are two of the best workers in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah. So I think Jordan Devlin he's the best in the UK. I think he might.
Yeah.
He's for sure the best and most interesting character on these shows. I've been loving Cocky Heel Jordan on TV.
Yeah.
This feud is a little bit weird with this whole sort of country stuff.
The build, yeah. Like, who's the bigger patriot for countries that aren't the UK where we are?
Yeah, who cares?
It's like, who can be the biggest nationalist dick? Yeah, I'm excited about the match, regardless of the build, because I like these guys.
Yeah.
And what they can do between the ropes, bell to bell. The build for this one with the whole I'm a bigger patriot than you for New Zealand, and I'm a bigger patriot than you for Ireland, and you don't really care about New Zealand. It's weird.
Yeah, I think I see what they're going for if you have Jordan as this sort of Irish ace and this man that really, really loves his country. So of course he's going to go after someone that, in his eyes, doesn't love his country as much.
Is a pretender. Yeah.
But also, I don't care.
Who like adopts all the affectations but doesn't actually live it.
Yeah. But again, like, who cares? This isn't an interesting wrestling feud. But
no, it's odd.
I think this match could steal the show, though. They had a match, as far as I know, they've only had one singles match. It was 2017, and it was absolutely phenomenal. And Devlin has got a lot better since then. I think Travis has regressed a little bit since then, but hopefully the fact that Jordan's got so much better that it's gonna really click. I'm excited. I'm very into this match.
Yeah, again, regardless of the build, very into the match itself. Why do you think that Banks has regressed? Is sort of the injury situations held him back a little, or?
I think what it is his Progress title run was kind of mishandled.
Right.
They had him as this sort of undefeatable babyface. People very quickly got bored of that. They kept pushing it a bit too long, and then it weirdly transitioned into a heel run. It just didn't work.
Fair enough. But I mean, still bell to bell in ring. Like, so you're a bit cold on him character wise, but bell to bell, he can go.
Yeah, I'm cold on the character. I think bell to bell, there's been a few hiccups here and there. I think he might have lost a bit of confidence. But in general, he's one of my favorite wrestlers. So I'm excited. And maybe
it should be good.
Maybe being on this takeover will have given him that confidence that he's lost.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'm excited.
Yeah, it should be good. Who do you pick for this one?
It has to be Jordan. If I were them, I would start building Jordan to headline the next takeover for the title. I think that's your next program, and you want to heat Jordan up as much as possible.
Absolutely. So I'm going the same way. I think Jordan Devlin, because he's destined for big things. Then we move on. Speaking of big things, Eddie Dennis, Dave Mastiff. This one's a classic story. Basically, two big boys doing big boy things and sort of running over everyone else on the roster. And now let's put them in the ring together.
Yeah,
It's pretty basic stuff.
But it's been good. I think
it has, yeah.
Basic is good sometimes.
Yeah, no, I've gotten into Dave Mastiff on his little run that he's been having.
Yeah, I think they've used Dave Mastiff a lot better here than a lot of British Indies do. On British Indies, he's a bit more of a comedy character. I think that's just because we've seen a lot of him now. But obviously he's newer to the NXT UK audience, in theory.
Right.
So the sort of Vader, like, undefeated big man, I'm into it.
Yeah. What's the go with Eddie Dennis, though? Because, like, I've been getting into the Dave Mastiff stuff, but Eddie Dennis hasn't really, I don't know, just hasn't really vibed with me.
See, I was going to say the same thing. I think Eddie Dennis's character, they've weirdly got completely wrong. Because I don't think he works as this sort of undefeated monster type, you know? I don't think that's what Eddie Dennis is. I think Eddie Dennis is the guy that feels entitled, but isn't as good as everyone else, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like a Triple H.
Yeah, like a Triple H. He's not a top guy, but in his head he's a top guy, and he can't understand why he's not there. I think if you wanted to have Eddie Dennis undefeated, you could have had him cheating a bit more in his matches.
Yeah, that makes more sense to me. That makes more sense. Because it's, I don't know why. I can't put it into words, but it just, I haven't been able to buy him the same way I've bought Dave Mastiff in terms of what they've been doing.
I think because he doesn't even look like a guy you'd imagine as intimidating. You know?
No.
He doesn't have an intimidating feel about him.
Yeah, no, and they're trying to sell him as sort of the same. So I feel like Dave Mastiff has to win this one and quite easily too, like quite easy victory for Dave Mastiff. I feel, but I think it's going to be a fun match.
Eddie is good at these kind of no DQ plunder type matches, so it should be fun.
Yeah,
I think Mastiff is going to win as well. I would look at retooling what Eddie Dennis's character is. I think he's a very, very strong promo. So even if he loses here, it's not going to hurt him in the long run.
No, you can get his heat back on the mic.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the one that I think most people think will steal the show, but I'm still betting on the Kiwi versus the Irish Ace to be the show stealer. But this one is going to be an amazing match. There's no doubt about it. Mustache Mountain, Grizzled Young Vets to crown the first NXT UK Tag Team Champions.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Christmas has come and gone, and with it, the disappointment of those Secret Santa staples, the shave kit, the sports hygiene packs, and seasonal socks is fading. As we roll on, though, into the new year, it's time to make resolutions. So why not resolve to look better in 2019 and get yourself the gift that keeps on giving and never disappoints, Threadbox. Threadbox is a subscription clothes shopping service which for as little as $40 per month will send you a box of personally curated goodies straight to your doorstep. I get the $160 package which comes with over $200 worth of fresh goodies each month. Kept me looking fly for all my Christmas engagements this year. You get to communicate with the Threadbox stylist assigned to you by email regarding what it is you need, and they will tailor the box accordingly. And in the unlikely event that you don't like what they send you, you send it back, they will replace it with something new and make note of the things you don't like so that they can avoid that kind of thing in the future. Threadbox is a truly unbelievable service that no man should be living without, so head over to threadbox.com.au today and use our code TheB+15 when you check out to get 15% off your first box. January is here and we are fast approaching WrestleMania season. Royal Rumble and the road to WrestleMania are around the corner, so the time to dilly-dally is past us. If you want to experience WrestleMania live, and who doesn't, let's be honest, you deserve it. The best and really the only way to do it is with All Aussie Travelers. All Aussie Travelers are new to the wrestling travel package game, but they are veterans at travel, and they have put together a package that cannot be beaten. For less than $7,500, All Aussie Travelers are going to send you to New York, with return flights, airport transfers, full accommodation, and tickets to the WWE Hall of Fame, NXT pre-show party, NXT TakeOver, WrestleMania, Monday Night Raw, SmackDown Live, and more. The coolest part about these packages is that for NXT TakeOver, Raw, and SmackDown, you are going to be seated in your own private VIP suite, normally not available to the public, but All Aussie Travelers have you covered, man. They got this locked down. It has its own bar, it has its own bathroom access, and all the luxuries that a VIP box comes with, not least of which, of course, an incredible view for everything happening in the ring. All of this for under $7,500. They're practically giving these packages away, man. You'd be crazy not to check it out. So head over to All Aussie Travelers on Facebook. The link is in the show notes. And tell them that the B Plus sent you. And let's go watch WrestleMania in style.
Yeah, I think there was no doubt that this was going to be the match for the tag titles. Because these are two of the top tag teams in the country. And these guys have had like a million matches against each other, all of which have been really, really good. So you know they have chemistry. Again, I would have liked Zach Gibson to be getting more of a singles push, and it looked like he was getting that after winning the second UK tournament. But evidently, for whatever reason, they've decided to keep him as a tag team.
Well, I think it's because there's not a lot of tag teams. We've seen the tag team division has been mostly just thrown together, you know? Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster have kind of gelled, but they felt thrown together. You got Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bartel as well, looking like they're going to become a full-time team. But I don't know, Kenny Williams and Amir Jordan, that's one that I'm not buying into.
Really?
as a
Because I
team.
really like them. It might be because I like Amir Jordan separately, but I'm
Right.
I'm into them as a sort of lower card fun babyface tag team.
Okay, I can see the role. I can see the role being needed to be filled there. But I feel like, again, I'm into Amir Jordan as a solo guy. So I felt like I'd prefer him to be on his own there. Which, I mean, Zach Gibson, I feel like he had his run at Pete Dunne. There's no point heating him up again in singles right now because they don't have a secondary singles title, nor should they. And so I feel like this is a really good spot for him. And I think they're going to win too. I think that he and James Drake win this one, shock the world sort of thing, and become the first champs. But I think that's a good spot for him.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's not a lot of tag teams in this division anyway, so maybe it's better to keep Gibson as a top tag team guy. I could see this going either way, really. I've heard some speculation that maybe Trent is going to turn on Tyler.
No.
I'm just putting it out there in case it happens and I look like a genius.
Oh, my heart will break.
Yeah.
My heart can't take that.
But,
I'm invested in these guys now, you know?
Yeah, they've got a really good sort of father-son dynamic.
Like all the stuff they did in NXT with the towel, throwing in the towel for each other. No, they can't do that. I am not prepared for this, Aqeel. Don't throw that at me.
I'm just throwing an idea at you. I think Gibson and Drake are going to win. Because you can have Gibson cutting promos every week talking about how he's the tag team champion and he's the best and all of this greatness.
Yeah.
I think because I've seen a lot of Mustache Mountain at the top of tag divisions, I don't see what more you can do with them. Even though they haven't won tag titles really in WWE or NXT or whatever, I don't think there's a ton there for them right now. Whereas Grizzled Young Vets, they're not called Grizzled Young Vets officially, are they? It's just Gibson and Drake.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I actually come to think of it. Yeah, I don't think I've heard them called Grizzled Young Vets on the show.
Whatever they are, those two guys, I think there's more to do with them as your tag champs. I think there's more interest there.
I think that Moustache Mountain are WWE main roster bound at some point, surely.
Tyler is for sure.
And I feel like you got to keep them together for that.
See, I think Tyler is for sure. I think Trent, maybe he sticks around a little bit more. I'm not sure.
Like with this new era, right? So you're looking at it like maybe they break him up and then Tyler goes on and moves on up and does his thing.
They feud for a little bit, then Tyler moves up.
Yeah.
You can have Trent against Pete for the title. You're missing a few top heels, I think, in NXT UK right now.
Yeah.
And if you have Trent turn, you've instantly got... Look, just the idea of Trent turning has pissed you off. So...
Yeah. So it works.
Yeah.
Well, see, because here's the thing, though, as well, talking about the dearth of top heels. The big question with NXT UK is who can dethrone Pete Dunne, given his massive reign that he's had, and like that title is tied to him, like no one else. And I guess now that I think about it, if you turned Trent Seven heel, he's a serious contender. He really is. But I wanted to talk about another serious contender. We've both predicted here that Grizzled Young Veterans win one way or the other. I want to talk about, before we get on to the next matches, the person who I think dethrones Pete Dunne. Volta. We're going to get Volta waving in the crowd here, surely.
See, I think Walter's debuting at this takeover. In my own weird fantasy booking, I put him together with Eichner and Bartel.
Right, I can see that.
As a sort of better Gallus.
Yeah.
literally the only reason I say that is because Volta and Bartel were a former tag team. And so it's a nice way to introduce Volta.
Yeah, well, I recently, as I mentioned, because I was catching up on matches with Kellyanne and everything, and I watched the 18th anniversary, and they had the 6-man tag with, he's Axel Dieter Jr. there, yeah? And so they had the 6-man tag against British Strong Style, and that was a phenomenal match. So yeah, I can see Volta teaming with those guys for sure.
I'm not super confident in that because I think from the TV it feels like they've positioned Eichler and Bartel, Marcel Bartel. I can't get his new name right.
Yeah. It's a tough one. Marcel Bartel, I think.
Bartel.
Yeah.
I'm just going to call him ADJ, Axel Dieter Jr. That's what he is in my heart.
You damn Mark.
Yeah. I think they've positioned those two guys very much as a sort of mid-card act. They're feuding with Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews and this sort of stuff. So I could be completely off base here. But I think Volta is for sure debut. I would be amazed if he doesn't show up this weekend.
Well, I thought we'd just get, the NXT staple. He's sitting front row. He waves for the cameras. And they're like, it's Volta. Volta's coming,
Yeah, well...
I didn't think it'd be more than that, though.
Yeah, but there's a TV taping the day after. So
yes, yeah.
He's probably going to be involved in there somewhere.
Yeah, see, and I thought you start so I guess if you do have the Trent Seven thing happen, as you've called it, then you have another takeover before you get to... So we could potentially have Pete Dunne hold on to the title for quite a while before you end up passing it over to Walter.
I would, and I think we might as well just talk about this match anyway now. Pete Dunne, Joe Coffey.
Yeah.
I would keep the title on Pete Dunne for quite a while longer. Just because I think the brand is only just launched. You need that sort of stable guy on top, and there's a lot still you can do with Pete Dunne as the champion.
Yeah.
You've basically done nothing.
Yeah, I definitely agree. He's iconic. Like he's literally like linked with this brand so intrinsically now. Like you can't think NXT UK. You can't think that without thinking Pete Dunne. Like he's had that title for so long.
Yeah, and even before he actually won it, it was very obvious that when he didn't win it at the first UK tournament, it was still very, very obvious that he's going to be the guy to take it off Tyler Bate. So even before he had the title, he was still intrinsically linked with the title. So it's always sort of felt like his title.
Yeah, definitely.
But
so it's but I think I've predicted for a while now. Like as soon as they were like, with Volta's going to WWE, I'm like, okay, he's going to be the guy because he's the only one really who's believable enough to take it from Pete Dunne.
Yeah. I know for a fact that WWE have a hold on your call for April, so I imagine that's your next takeover.
Right.
So you could do Pete Dunne versus Volta there for the title. That's 3 or 4 months away. That's enough time to build it up.
Yeah, potentially. For this match though, for Pete Dunne and Joe Coffey, so obviously we both predict Pete Dunne to retain, but I think that I think this match is going to be a big moment for Joe Coffey. I think that he comes out of it much stronger in the loss.
I think it's a big test for Joe Coffey because he's a guy I've always liked, but he rarely has great matches. And obviously this is the biggest opportunity he's ever had so far. And he could make himself a big star coming out of it.
And Pete Dunne rarely has good matches.
Yeah, Pete Dunne always has great matches. So it would be Joe Coffey is in a very, very strong position to really become a star after this show. But whether it actually happens, we will see. Again, I'm not super into everything he's been doing on the show, so I'm coming into this a little bit unsure, but could be good. I'm tipping it's good.
I think Joe Coffey doesn't need Gallus, to be honest with you. I think, like, I don't know. I don't want to throw Mark Coffey and Wolfgang under the bus here, but I think that I've enjoyed what they've done, and I've said that, and I've enjoyed them right up until I found out what the name meant. But I just think that, yeah, I don't know if he needs them. I think that he could probably be more exciting on his own. Am I the only one that feels this way?
I think Mark Coffey and Wolfgang don't add a lot to the act. I think Joe Coffey is really sort of carrying Gallus. But I don't think you keep him on his own either. I don't think, if you want him to be a top heel, I don't think you have it. He's strong enough to be out there on his own. I think he needs heaters.
Right. Yeah, no, I guess I can see that. I can see that line of thinking, but I don't know if Yeah, I can see that line of thinking for sure. But this match, I think...
What you do in general now, after this, is push Gallus really, really down the card. Not really, really down the card, but sort of de-push them quite a bit, rejigger things, maybe have them really focus on tag division now, and just sort of rethink what's going on there, because it's not working.
Yeah, but if you do have them refocus on the tag division down there, then at least in the way we've predicted it, you've got heel tag team champions, though. Well, in the way I've predicted it, you've got heel tag team champions. So,
or just do something else with them. Don't keep them out of the main event picture for a little while.
Yeah, absolutely. Just have them run roughshod over the lower card. But then my main event, my girl Rhea Ripley defending the title against Toni Storm. The winner, of course, of the Mae Young Classic. Also, my girl, less because I didn't really see her live because she was from Queensland. I'm down here in Adelaide. But this one is going to be brilliant. The first match was good, and I think they're going to step it up a notch for the TakeOver crowd.
Rhea Ripley is so good.
Yeah. How good was the press conference they did? Did you see the press conference episode?
I saw the press conference. I think the sort of fake questions was a little bit cringe, and I think Johnny Saint just sort of stood there doing nothing.
I enjoy it. I enjoy that. I don't know why. I like Johnny Saint's whole gimmick of, he has the assistant to do everything for him. He's just sort of there to lend his presence.
Johnny Saint's whole gimmick of being so bad they don't let him talk anymore. You're a fan of that?
Yeah. I'm a fan of that. I'm a huge fan of that. It's very British to me.
Fair enough.
But Rhea is so good, dude. And she's so young, too.
Rhea was great in that press conference. She really, really understands her character, which is something people that have been wrestling like double, triple the amount of time she has still don't really get. She knows exactly who Rhea Ripley is, and that does a lot for me. Like you said, the first match I really, really enjoyed. Again, this is a big stage for both of them, so they're going to go really hard. And I could see this being match of the night, potentially.
Yeah. Well, see, we've said that about a couple of matches, right? So this really does have, the more I look at it, the more I think about it in hindsight, even though there hasn't been huge buzz, you're watching 2 hours in a block and it feels a little more of a slog to get through than NXT does, and it's felt a little bit drier, I think is the best way to explain it. I think when I look at it on the whole and I actually break down this card, I'm like, this feels like any other TakeOver card. Like, any one of these matches could be match of the night. There's a lot of really exciting stuff happening. The UK title feels very prestigious after everything they've done with Pete Dunne. This, the Women's UK Championship, Rhea Ripley has been a great first champion. I think she's going to retain it here, but a lot of people are thinking Toni Storm takes it. What do you think?
I don't know. I think he'd keep it on Rhea, just because I think Rhea's really, really good right now.
I'm a fan of the heel champ with the face chase.
Yeah, but But I could also see them wanting to put it on Tony and just have a bunch of really, really good matches.
Right. Absolutely. But, I mean, Tony, obviously, the Mae Young Classic, and she could have chosen any title. The way they've sold it is she could have chosen any title in WWE, right, to challenge for. And she's chosen the NXT UK Women's title because it means that much to her. That makes this title instantly prestigious as well. Like, it feels prestigious. The tag titles, it's going to be a fantastic match to crown the first tag champions. So the titles all feel like they're worth something. This really, the more I look at it, it really does feel like NXT. I'm getting excited now. Really excited at this point.
I think for NXT proper, takeovers 9 times out of 10 are great. Like, I can probably count on one hand the amount of bad takeovers there's been. And this will probably follow that lineage of being a great show. But I think it doesn't have the buzz, and I think that's just because the TV show is bad. If you look at the people that we know are involved in the creative of NXT, they're people that aren't normally booking for TV. So it might just be that they themselves are sort of finding their footing still. There's a lot of things going against NXT UK right now, but this takeover will probably be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I hope it sets things in a better direction moving forward. Now, I have one other note to discuss here, and I feel like we're going to double the length of the podcast with this because this is such an odd choice.
Oh, no.
This is such an odd choice. So the NXT theme songs, they do this weird thing. They have 2 theme songs per show, right? So this time around, you've got, for the takeover, they've got a Prodigy song, which, sounds like the Prodigy. It's pretty standard. And they've chosen a song by Poppy called X as one of the themes for this takeover. Now, are you familiar with Poppy at all, Aqeel?
I have never heard of Poppy in my life.
She's this weird internet sensation. She's a very pale, blonde woman who, I don't know, all the things I've seen of her, she's kind of like a meme, and there's like videos of her like drawing pictures, videos of her talking to a pot plant, just weird stuff.
Does the pot plant talk back?
From memory, yes.
Wait,
I'm actually going to pull one up.
Sorry.
Because these, like,
I was joking.
I'm talking. No. From memory, it does. Like, she has this weird voice. She's like, "Hi, I'm Poppy." It's weird, dude. It's weird, and it's like plain black. It's like a plain background that she's on, and it's weird stuff. And there's people talk about like these videos have encoded messages. This is dangerous for our youth. There's people that talk about like maybe Poppy's actually legitimately an alien. Obviously, the general consensus is this is a performance art piece of some kind where she's delivering this character. She even did one of the ones I remember seeing was those Facebook react videos, like someone's like, "Oh, FB react to this, react to that." There was one where it was like kids react to Poppy, right? And they're all being like scared, like, "Oh, this is creepy." And then they did a Poppy react to kids react to Poppy.
That sounds really creepy.
Right, so she's watching the video of the kids watching her video, and they're asking questions, and she's responding. She's interesting, to say the least. And this song, I'm actually going to close out the podcast with this song because it's so weird. It starts off like, okay, yeah, this is an NXT theme song, it's like really new metal. And then all of a sudden, I feel like they thought it was like the most British thing ever. She just starts acting like the Beatles. And it's a really weird song choice. I know you've seen the song because I sent you the video clip.
Yeah, don't break kayfabe. I've never heard of Poppy. God, Greg.
No, you've heard of Poppy today. Like, we literally, before we started, I was like, "Did you hear about the Poppy song?" You're like, "What's Poppy?" I sent it to you.
Of course.
I sent you this video.
It was like an hour ago.
So you watched it, right?
Yes.
It's fucking weird.
It's so bizarre. I don't understand this woman. I'm going to be thinking about this for the next few weeks. Why?
You're going to go down the rabbit hole, dude. You got to check out this YouTube. It's like, I feel like I'm not doing it justice because it's been a long time since I've seen anything, but then all of a sudden she's the NXT UK Takeover song, and I only realized it this morning when Aiden, my good friend Aiden, who does the Eurocast sometimes, he sent me a message and was like, why have they chosen Poppy as the song? And I was like, wait, what? And I clicked through and I'm like, oh crap, what the hell? This is so weird, and it's blown my feeble little mind. So I'm going to close the show with the theme one of the themes for NXT UK Takeover Blackpool. Before I do though, Aqeel, where can people find you? Other than hiding from Poppy.
You can find me thinking about Poppy in the corner of most rooms.
I feel like she'd approve of that, to be honest.
Yes, she would, wouldn't she? Anyway, why Poppy? What is Poppy? What? Sorry. I have a Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at Aqeel Khalid, AQEELKHALID. If you're not sick of my voice yet, over on Review Reviews, we recently did our big end of year podcasts, where I blow a lot of minds with everyone who I hate. We're also about to do a sort of Royal Rumble Women's Division roundtable typey thing. Lots of stuff going on. Have a listen. Have a follow. Think about Poppy. Don't even no, you know what? Don't follow me on Twitter. Don't listen to my other podcasts. Just go watch some Poppy videos and explain.
And you can find me at GregUnchained on Twitter, at the GregUnchained on Instagram. We collectively are the B Plus Wrestle on Twitter because wrestling wouldn't fit. The B Plus Wrestling everywhere else. Like, share, subscribe, 5-star review if you like what we do. Head over to the Patreon. If you really want to support us, that's the best way to do it. Thank you so much for listening. Now, enjoy Poppy.
Is she on drugs?